It's Bodega time. Yeah, what's going on, party people? The place to be. I go by the name of the BK Apologist, transmitting all the way live. New York is the city, and Brooklyn is that borough. What's good? What's popping? Hope everybody's doing well. We made it to another Friday. Many people say, can't say that, but we can, and praise God for that. Let me say what's up to the party people in the chat. We got Mr. Phil Fox. We got the indelible, the incredible Nate 2D2. We got Curly Shanae. We got Wawo. We got my man Alejandro Segado. Que lo que? Oh, yeah. Adrian Jones. We got Revelator 007 in the building. We got Carl Anthony. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, tell a friend to tell a friend. That's them again. That's right. Let's get the party off right. Thank you, sir, for showing so much love to us in the super chat. Definitely appreciate that. Whoa, look at this, Michelle Turner. I haven't seen her in the chat in a while. You know what I mean? So that's interesting. We got my man CMB. What's up? What's up? What's up? Please share and if you are so inclined, please support the ministry on a monthly basis on Patreon, where you can get all sorts of interesting goodies. Those who know will know, and I won't say anything past that. So, with that, as always, we have a very distinguished and illustrious panel of all sorts of shades and social status and different regions of the planet, known and unknown, on this stage here tonight. Starting with Bodega Lady D. New. What's going on, sis?
Happy Bodega Day, everyone. Welcome to the day formerly known as Friday.
Facts. And next to her is fellow Bodega Lady, Titus. But today she is Ty Park. Yeah. What's up?
Hi. How goes it, everyone?
All right. Looking very enlightened with her frames. You know what I mean?
I felt inspired by Shawnee from last week, so I'm wearing some frames today.
So good. And then up top, we got Mr. True ID himself, Adam Coleman. What's going on, sir?
Hey, what's happening with you, bro? You good?
Man, we here, man. We chilling. And we have I Am Not a Marxist from Detroit. What's going on, sir?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm here, man. We're maintaining. We're trying to live our best life digitally, because we can't do it analog just yet.
May I make a quick announcement?
Sure.
I just want to let the studio audience and the viewership know that I am not a Marxist, but thank you.
Duly noted, sir. Duly noted. So usually, we go in and talk about, the COVID situation. But today we're going to preempt that particular part of the show because we have, I don't want to say a special guest because he's definitely part of Bodega, but, we don't get to see a lot of this particular individual. And I definitely want him to talk about a very special event that's about to occur. And on that note, I'm passing the platform over to Mr. Coleman. Talk to us. What is that you're showing us, sir?
I'm not even gonna say that, man. I told you, I'm not even talking, man. I'm just gonna sit here just like this for like 30 minutes and then just be out. This is what I'm doing right here. This is what I'm doing right here, man.
Come on. So what's that in your hand, sir? What is that?
Man, earlier today, I got my copy of the Urban Apologetics book that's coming out on April 6th, man. I am beyond excited, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing right here. You know what I mean? It's coming out April 6th, but Urban Apologetics, Restoring Black Dignity with the Gospel. It's real, y'all. It's really out. So, yeah, man, I'm just hype off that right now, bro.
So what exactly is this, though? Okay, it says Urban Apologetics. I mean, what does it entail, this particular piece of literature that you're holding?
Oh man, I mean, it's like several books within a book, actually. I mean, you see how thick it is, man. You drop this thing on your toe and do some damage. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because I mean, we actually completed it about a year and some change ago, and it just you have the editing process and things like that. It takes a while, so like for it to actually be in my hands, man, it's kind of crazy right now. So I'm actually getting a chance to turn the page. Let me go to the table of contents right quick. I should know all this, but yeah, I mean, we got several different authors, man. Jerome Gay, Eric Mason, Tiffany Gill, Zion McGregor, Damon Richardson, Dr. Sarita Lyons, me, I'm saying Vince Bantu. Who else we got here? We got Brandon Washington, Doug Logan, Blake Wilson. All these folks, I don't think I missed anybody. All these folks, we contributed different chapters where we've got chapters defining urban apologetics, talking about the social, cultural predicament that has necessitated there even being an urban apologetics movement. And we get into the different worldviews, man. We got chapters on Hebrew Israelism. We got chapters on Nation of Islam. We got chapters on Comedicism, right? I did a chapter on Black atheism. You know what I mean? So I'm excited about that. We also have Jerome Gay did this chapter on the whitewashing of Christianity, man. So this is really like a primer. I don't know if you say primer or primer. Yeah, I've heard people pronounce it different ways, but basically, there you go. But this is an intro to urban apologetics, man, and just really a foot in the door that we believe will open up more opportunities for some more works like these to come down the pike, man. So, but even aside from getting into the worldviews, I mean, we're really equipping people because, like with Dr. Sarita Lyons, for example, she wrote a chapter on feminism. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to Black women and feminism, how to kind of navigate that. She's dealing with that piece. We got Dr. Tiffany Gill. Writing a chapter on the importance of the Black church, like really digging into that history and whatnot. Same thing with Zion McGregor. He's digging into why the Black church is relevant to apologetics. So we're tackling more than just the worldviews, right. But we're really digging into some other aspects I think will really be help a lot of people to be equipped, man. So I'm just I'm excited to be here, man. Excited to be in the game. You know what I mean? And like I told you, I'm not like a mushy kind of a guy, but I had the opportunity to give a signed copy of the book to my grandfather earlier today, and that was just a huge moment for me, man. So I'm on cloud 9, 10, and 11 right now. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at right now, man.
And also, Eric Mason spilled a little tea about the book that this particular book might find its way in seminary syllabuses in the very near future.
Actually, yeah, and that was news to me. He mentioned that in the live with Jerome Gay, and I texted him. I mean, apparently that's the case. Like they've already, seminaries have been reaching out to include this work in their curriculum. And actually, this is something that we were aiming at anyway. Kind of behind the scenes. I know of at least, 1 or 2 colleges that have reached out to individuals in the urban apologetics community because they didn't have resources, at the collegiate level. And they had, people, going through doctoral work or actually more so master's work. And we're coming, back from the, summer and when I say, hey, we're not prepared to deal with these different groups that are out here and we need some equipment. So I know for a fact there's at least, 1 or more colleges have reached out to the urban apologetics community. And so, that's kind of spurred us, putting this work out. I mean, this is not, this book is accessible. I think anybody can really pick up and gain something from it, but it's also written at a level that it merits, being, utilized in the college setting. You know what I'm saying? It's accessible, but at the same time, the content is very much so appropriate for the right. collegiate setting. So that's kind of what we were aiming at.
Cool. Does anybody in the panel have a question for Adam about the book?
I don't. Go ahead.
Or statement.
I was just saying that I don't have a question, but I can tell you that it's going to be at Trinity. It's just a matter of time.
Okay.
Oh wow! Breaking news.
Breaking news. All right.
Well, Pritchard is in charge of the books and stuff like that they get, and he has been waiting for a book to come out. So I'm pretty sure it will be at Trinity.
Okay, I heard that. That's what's up. Yeah,
you heard it here first.
There it is.
I don't have a question, but I just want to say to you, Adam, that your testimony surrounding you even writing the book just blesses me every time I hear it from being a youth and being told that you would never make it, or that you would never, that you weren't smart. And just to see where you are today, even prior to this book, just to hear you speak, you would never think that a human being ever said that to you. And so I'm just proud of you. Little old me is proud of you. And
I appreciate that. Thank you.
What you're doing. Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll be getting you guys on the channel so I can interview all the contributors up in here. So
I just want to know what I got to do to get an autographed copy. That's all.
Oh, yeah. I mean, certainly there are better autographs than you get to me, man. It's a lot of big names in here. I'm kind of
no.
I snuck in the back door.
This is like the day, So
he's trying to be all humble, knowing that in the future there's going to be dissertations citing Adam Coleman in the near future.
No, right?
You know what I mean?
But to be honest, man, what's crazy is, and I'm really not putting on. I'm really serious about this. Like, this book is an expression of the community. Maybe I'll just say, 5-10 years ago, I mean, none of us were doing what we're doing now. I mean, we weren't having bodega nights and things like that. And so, honestly, I think this the energy, the camaraderie, the collaborations that have been fostered in the urban apologetics community is the underpinning, or you set the stage for God to be able to move, in the manner of bring something like this about, man. So I'm real serious, man. Like I really feel like this book is an expression of, the community having come together and, just combating these different worldviews that are out here, man. And so, I think it's a win for everybody, man.
Right. And it drops officially on April 6th. Yes.
It drops officially on April 6th. With that being said, actually already you can pre-order it at Amazon.com. And there's actually a launch team. There's a launch team where you can, click the link, pre-order the book, and then you actually have access, early access to the digital copy of the book. There's some kind of way. I know BK Apologist finds ways to get books that aren't even printed yet, digital copies. So he probably already had it, Like,
I got it in pre-order, fam. I got it in pre-order.
Yeah, okay.
But there's three ways that you can actually get this book. You can get the Kindle copy, you can get the hardback copy, and you can it's also on audio. Audible.
Yeah, very much
also
so.
On Audible. So I get a free Audible credit like every month. So I got at least 2 copies coming my way.
Okay, that's definitely what's up. That's definitely what's up, man.
And I'm just not gonna point out the obvious that you never answered the question. So.
Oh, my bad, man. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't even know, man. I guess I had to fly. I mean, this is new to me. I don't even know how this works, bro. To be honest with you, what I mean. But I can send you a copy for sure.
We're working out behind the scenes. I got you.
Yeah, we'll work it out.
We're working out behind the scenes
for sure.
Because normally what I'll do is I'll get you to sign 2, one for me, one for Brandon, and then I'll just PayPal you or something. We'll work out the logistics on the money on the back end. So
I'm low on the totem pole, man. So you might want to send it around to the bigger the big wigs first before you get to me.
Man,
you know what I mean?
I don't know them. I know you. You the homie.
Right. Oh yeah,
I admire some of them. Most of them, probably all of them. I don't know all of them. So but you the homie. So.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, that's the thing, man, is just, on my channel, I always refer to myself as the hometown hero. And I think sometimes people may be confused as to why I have that moniker, but I started that even before I was doing apologetics, but when I was doing gospel rap. But the whole idea is that we can all be hometown heroes. Like we can all be used of God to bear fruit. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, I'm like, just kind of flabbergasted. I'm even, here, man. You know what I mean? It's just, just 6-7 years ago, I was wrestling with these questions that we deal with all the time. I mean, that's real rap, and, the Lord, moved in my heart, you know what I'm saying? And put me in a position to help other people. And here we are, man. So I'm just happy to be here, bro. I'm happy to be a part of it.
Cool, man. So thank you so much for allowing us to know. And I hope you're working on your workshop based on your chapter, because because pretty soon you're gonna be taking the show on the road, bro. So
yeah, that's probably a good idea. I probably should. I can't say that I have been, but I probably should. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What was that, Adam? Before COVID hit, like at least in 2019, you was making your way around
he
the
was in
Midwest a little
the
bit.
apologetic chitlin circuit.
Man,
you know what I mean?
Well, I know I made my way to Nebraska out there with your boy Quentin, and it was cold as a mug,
You
man.
made it to Nebraska. You was up there. You was up there in Illinois. I mean, you was making your way around.
Nah, he was outside. Adam's definitely outside.
Tim Allison and Quentin they almost took me out the game, man. It's cold out there in Illinois, man, and Nebraska. I had those two back to back. It almost sat me down, bro. But matter of fact, in real rap though, I got to give props to you, MJ Jackson, because when I was working on this chapter, I sent it to you for review. You was able to give me your insights and feedback and stuff like that. So likewise, guys like Tim Stratton and stuff like that. So shout out to MJ Jackson for your insight and critique. I'm saying helping me to sharpen the chapter. You know what I mean? It was definitely a community effort, bro. So
I was looking at it like, Adam, when will I be able to cite this in a paper or something? He was like, just hold up.
right.
Well, that's interesting. I wonder who's gonna be the first person to cite you in a paper. That's gonna be interesting.
I don't even know, man. I mean, quiet is kept. I mean, maybe it's not so quiet now, but one of the things y'all know I'm a philosophy nerd, so I'm trying to think how to put this so I won't offend somebody, but basically one of the things I enjoy doing is taking the works of African or African-American writers that haven't really been utilized to make philosophical argumentation. And I like to take those things and kind of refurbish them, if you will, and put into some use for apologetics purposes. And it just so happened that I came across Ethiopian philosopher by the name of Zera Yacob. Y'all probably have heard me talk about him on my channel. But one of the main arguments in this chapter I framed around this Zera Yacob. Zera Yacob, he's a 17th century Ethiopian philosopher. I'll just say this real quickly, but typically when you study philosophy, if there's a particular argument for God's existence, they're going to tell you like the history of the argument, like some of the highlights of who made the argument, and maybe somebody who put a little twist to it. And they're going to kind of give you a lineage, if you will, of philosophers that made a particular argument. And when it comes to the cosmological argument, Zera Yacob, 17th century Ethiopian philosopher, in his works, you find a version of the cosmological argument. And as far as I've never actually seen him be cited in that lineage of people who have made a cosmological argument. So I'm pretty sure this might be the first time that somebody's used his work in that manner, and particularly for, repurposing it for apologetics. And just to kind of check on that, actually, I'm not going to say the person's name, but I know a guy who's a PhD teaching at doctoral level at a legitimate university, very well-known individual. And I asked him, I just kind of shot it to him. I said, hey man, what do you think about this? Have you ever heard of him? And he'd never heard of this guy. And this particular individual has written a book on the cosmological argument. He hadn't heard of this guy that I'm bringing out. So, it's just some really unique material, man. And I think that it's an opportunity for us to, again, show how the biblical worldview has been present.
I think I know who you're talking about, but I won't say anything.
Oh no, it's cool. Yeah. I'm not gonna say the person's name, but
I mean, is it within the Anglo world of apologetics?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay, cool.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just exciting stuff, man. We're bringing some new stuff to the table, man. Everybody is did a great job with their chapters and stuff like that, man. I'm excited, bro. I'm excited. Yeah.
That's exactly it, Mr. Marxist. Now is behind the scenes. That's exactly who I was talking about. Exactly.
Yeah. Like, dang, we sending emails now.
Oh man, it's crazy. But man, Adam, thank you so much. I know you can't stay around too long, but I definitely wanted you to come here to shamelessly plug. It needs to be plugged. The community needs to know about this. I mean, this is a game changer. It's a win for the whole UA community. It really is. And
it is, man.
We are so proud of you, Adam. Yeah,
I appreciate that, man.
We love what you're doing. We love how you stand in your square when it comes to the gospel. We love how you articulate your faith and your convictions. Wow. And we know that this is just the beginning of you influencing so many people to come to know Christ for themselves. So thank you so much.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, brother. You know what I'm saying? And that's really what it's all about, man. At the end of the day, it's about people coming to Christ, man. I mean, I'm just going to be transparent. I mean, I have, immediate family members who claim to be atheists, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, like, I kind of just approached this chapter like, man, I'm gonna go as hard as I hope somebody is going hard at ministering to my immediate family member, man. And so at the end of the day, this is about getting that gospel out, man. This is about just really allowing God to use us, bro, because the stakes is high, man. You know what I'm saying, to use the old hip hop phrase, stakes is high, man, eternally. So there you go, De La Soul, man. So I appreciate that, bro. Thank you, man. I'm gonna slide out, man, but I love y'all, man. I appreciate y'all, and definitely ride with us, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like this right here, man. This is a movement. It's just the beginning, though. This is just the beginning, man. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna keep plugging this stuff, man.
Adam's gonna drop a album that coincides with the book in about a month or so, right?
Funny enough, actually, I seriously considered that. I mean, it's funny, you're joking, but I really thought about just kind of like taking some victory laps and recording a couple bars, man. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna fall back though. I'm gonna leave that to guys like Loso, A Ward, and these other guys, man. I'm gonna chill,
All right, man. Yeah. But thank you so much, bro, for sharing. Definitely
appreciate y'all, man. Thank you.
All right, y'all. All right, so with that, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. So on Sunday, millions watched Oprah interview Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. Over the course of the conversation, the couple made several dramatic revelations, the majority about family members. Meghan disclosed that there had been concerns and conversations between her husband and his family, the royal family, about how dark their son's skin might be. Both Meghan and Harry talked about the challenges of convincing their relatives of the severity of the bad press they received, and specifically of the toxicity of the racism leveled at their family. Quote, if a member of his family would comfortably say we've all had to deal with things that are rude. Rude and racist are not the same, said Meghan. Or Meghan. I don't know how you Meghan. Also added she dealt with suicidal thoughts, and after seeking out professional help at the palace's HR department. Wow, the palace has an HR department. That's deep. And I was told that that it wouldn't be good for the institution. Harry said after leaving the monarchy behind, he realized, quote, I was trapped, but I didn't know I was trapped, he said. My father and my brother, they are trapped. They don't get to leave. He also said that his relationship with his father had suffered greatly over the years. At one point, his father had stopped taking his calls. I will always love him, but there's a lot of hurt that's happened, and I will continue to make it one of my priorities to try and heal that relationship. So what are your guys' thoughts about this particular interview?
Well, anybody want to go first? I mean, I don't want to be rude. Okay. Well, let me just say this. A lot of people will look at her contemplating suicide and be, I've had to resist it too. And part of that is because of, maybe my new profession as far as what I've been doing over the last year and a half, working in mental health. But in the West, it's assumed that if you got stuff, why are you talking about racism, or why are you talking about suicide? You have material wealth. Why would you want to go blow your brains out? And so a lot of people would blow her off because they assume that she has stuff. Her life must be great. But one, I will listen to what the young lady has to say, and Harry, as her husband, he has an obligation to listen to his wife and take her at her word. And he because according to the Bible, he's one with her, so he should be able to feel what his wife is going through. And I'm sorry that there is a difference between rude and racist. And I've listened to the comments that have been made by Morgan and Shapiro, and it's like these folks are just crazy. I'm sorry, and they're just crazy. So I would expect Christians to be a little different, just to be a little different in taking it slow, listening, and being slow to speak and quick to listen.
Okay. Who else would like to chime in?
I'll jump in. Yeah, I mean, it amazes me. There's so many layers to this story. And first, I want to acknowledge the fact that I didn't watch the interview. It's generally not my cup of tea to track these types of things. So I'm speaking in very broad generalities about this. But yeah, the world for a long period of time, was very racist, and that's not something that just dissipates over time. I mean, that dissipates in a short period of time, and it's hard to. I think it's hard for some people in our modern context to understand the experience of people who experience it because they're not experiencing it. They don't have some sort of a thing to relate it to. So, you don't realize how much a person can have internal struggles and pressure regarding these types of things. Everybody, has a different level of anxiety that they manage when they come to like places of tension and things like that. So yeah, I found it telling, revealing. It was disappointing. The few accounts that I did read, which were mostly on Twitter, the words that they both spoke, the prince and her, they seem to be genuine stories about things that transpired and how they dealt with and reacted to those things emotionally. So yeah,
right.
It's not surprising because that's the world that we live in and that's the era that we're coming out of. It's very disappointing and heartbreaking to see when people go through things like this. So yeah,
Right.
I guess.
No, I think there's certain levels of stress no matter what social standing you have, and even though yes, he definitely lived a privileged life, but to have the royal family give your mom the side eye his whole life, and he knows, he's heard the conversations and the backbiting and everything. It's like no one, I don't care who you are, no one likes having their mom being talked badly about, and seeing how she was estranged from the family, and now he's kind of going through a similar situation of his own. So when he said he felt like he was trapped, a lot of people might just laugh it off. But I think to a certain extent, there is some, stress that he's definitely, and the thing I really didn't like the most was the fact that when she said they told her that her child will not have security. They're going to remove any security. Well, they're going to remove from him any form of title. He'll never have a title of any sort. But more importantly, no security. To me, that's like a soft version of putting a hit out on somebody. Because whether you like it or not, he's part of the royal monarchy, whether you like it or not. And there's people who hate you and your family. So when you said, I'm going to remove security, what you're basically saying, you're giving the green light. You might not be putting money on that child's head, but you basically are by saying we're not going to protect this child. I thought that was just ridiculous.
And then to compound the whole issue, you have the media as well, right? I don't know if anyone in the bodega saw, I believe it was CMB that posted a video that was done. And basically, the British media had something to say about Meghan prior to them even watching the interview with Oprah. And they were basically just basically trying to set up this idea that she was being the victim, essentially that she's being the victim. And so in addition to what everyone else has said, you also have the power of the media who is compounding everything as well. So it's a terrible story, period. And then to have, like I said, the media add to it, it doesn't help.
No, not at all.
I guess I'll speak on this too. I didn't watch the interview either, so I can't really say what was said or how I feel about that because I didn't watch it. But what I do know is my Bible. And I know what the Bible says about people who have riches, but they don't love their brother, and people who have stuff, but have just completely ignored God. I don't know how you can be a racist and say that you know God. Not that they have said they're Christians or anything, but it's just really sad. And I hope that one day God grants them repentance and they can see that this is wrong, because we all have an end date, right? So we shouldn't treat people like this based on anything, whether it's money or ethnicity or gender or anything like that. So yeah, humans just have a tendency to find a reason to make themselves better than they are, to not like somebody else. So yeah, that's
I mean,
all I
it's
have to
definitely
say.
one heck of a reality check for both of them. You know what I mean? Because he's definitely lived a privileged life, and and this is just me. This is conjecture on my part, but maybe he thought, I mean, she's the lightest black woman I possibly could find. It's like if you put her in the right lighting, she don't even look black. You know what I mean? It's like, so she should pass. You know what I mean? And they're like, nope, she black. That's it. We don't care. We don't care how fair she is. She black.
Like,
So
look, that's really racist because, like I said, that has to be. I'm looking at the baby, and I'm looking at her, and yeah, she has got to be the lightest woman, like you just said, like lighter than you.
yes.
So I'm like, boy, y'all must be on some stuff up in that palace.
It's that one drop rule, fam.
Like,
just have a little bit. Just have a little bit of African in you. It's a problem.
And then let's just keep it real. Like I was reading something the other day, and what it boils down to is unequal scales. The press was making a big deal about her when she was pregnant, always touching her stomach. And so somebody on Facebook lined up pictures of Kate and pictures of her side by side. And this is what you have to do because we got to use equal scales.
Right.
And the press handled Kate one way.
Mm-hmm.
And they complained about Meghan in a different way. So, like, come on now. And this is the beautiful age of technology, is we can track these things.
Yep.
We can track these things and produce receipts that the difference in how you handle people still exists, and it is what it is. And it's embarrassing to some people, but I believe that it's embarrassing because they conflate their identity with the country. And that's why they get so bent out of shape when you do point out that there still exists systemic brokenness within these countries.
Right. And big up to Harry for getting his family out of that craziness and putting his family first. So, I got to salute that 100%. So, with that being said, anything else you guys want to speak on before we get into the next topic? We good? All righty, here we go. Coming to America's date rape scene infuriates and disappoints viewers. In the sequel film, Murphy's Prince Akeem is dealing with issues of succession. He and his wife Lisa have had 3 daughters, and the outdated laws of Zamunda require a male heir to take over the throne. However, Akeem's father, King Jaffe, tells him on his deathbed that he has a secret son, Lavelle. This sends Akeem and Semi back to America to find his potential heir. However, it is revealed that the reason Akeem had no idea that he had a son was that his mother, Mary, played by Leslie Jones, drugged the prince and date raped him on his first trip to America. Despite the fact that this is a horrifying assault, the innocent is played off as a joke by the characters in the film. Thoughts?
Rape is wrong. I mean, I didn't even think about it that way because I mean, it looks like he got a contact high. So I can't say that she drugged him on purpose. Like to me, it didn't look like a Bill Cosby thing where he's just like, where she put something in his drink or something. Like she was high and he got a contact high and they did whatever. But yeah, date rape is wrong. I just don't know if that is what happened. Feel free to disagree with me, but I didn't see that.
Okay. What do you guys think? MJ, you muted. We can't hear you, MJ. Yeah.
He was high, man. I don't know if it would be, like you said, I didn't see anything on anybody's drink, but he was high as a kite.
So he consented.
Yeah, I think it would be consensual. I mean, he didn't remember everything, but I mean, he was high.
Yeah, I think it would be different if he didn't know that he was being drugged, but he was around her while she was doing it. So if he didn't want to be there, he should have left. He's kind of high because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's his fault. Not the rape part, but the high part is his fault.
Did you find anything else problematic with the film?
The whole film was problematic in my opinion, but
How
that's
so?
just me. I didn't think it was well written. I didn't like the plot. I didn't think it was funny. I didn't like it.
Right.
Let me push back just a little bit. I thought that it was a decent plot due to the fact that, you know, Prince Akeem did the young lady wrong at the wedding altar in the first movie. So I was like, okay, yeah, they could build on that. The general's son becomes a military dictator. We do have things like that go on in Africa, but most likely revolves around Boko Haram and stuff like that. So I mean, I thought that was cool, but I mean, some people took it personal that this movie was not as good as the first movie. And I'm like, I mean, nothing is really ever good the first time around. The second time around, but
it's the nostalgia because the first film, that's people's childhood.
Yeah.
So in your mind, you're gonna make it way bigger than it really was because it's part of your childhood, So
I mean, the last Terminator movie that came out, people still pissed off about that. But right. I mean, I get it, but I mean, everybody should kind of taper down their expectations when we're doing these sequels.
But again, it has nothing to do. It has more to do with people's memory of the film as opposed to the film itself. Because again, it's attached to their childhood. Like there's just certain songs that might not be great songs, but because it's as part of moments of your childhood, it becomes that much more greater than what it really is.
Like for instance, the Hakeem's wife's sister. It would have been nice to see her in this movie. She was funny to me.
Right.
I mean, their whole family was funny to me. They made the first movie, Mr. McDowell or whatever his name was.
Mm-hmm.
They were them and the Soul Glow family. That was funny to me. So that was missing in this film. Love the preacher. Love the guys in the barbershop. The preacher wasn't as funny this time. But Randy Watson tore it up at the end.
It just seems like a lot of the things that I loved about the first one were missing from the second one. I never expected it to be as good because, I mean, Coming to America was just such an iconic classic film.
Yes.
It's hard to top that. So I'm not mad at it because it wasn't as good as the first one. I just don't think it was a good movie. It just seemed like a straight to Netflix film. Like I feel like Tyler Perry could have produced that. No shade to Tyler Perry, but come on, y'all know what I'm trying to say. I didn't really like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like the fact that Lisa, that's his wife's name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lisa, she only had 3 lines, and she was getting like that's it. Like Lisa was such a strong woman in the first one. She was a philanthropist. Like she was beautiful. She just had a lot of qualities that were admirable. And in this movie, is like so you don't have nothing to say. You get that one scene, even though you were like the main character in the first one. No for me.
I would agree with you on that.
What about the relation between? And I saw this in a thought piece from a blogger who's from the continent of Africa, and just talking about the contention between continental Africans and African Americans. Like, is that still an issue? That contention between the African Americans and continental Africans? And if so, why?
Like, can you expound on that a little bit real quick?
Well, I mean, at least in New York, it might not be the case where you guys are, but in New York, we have African communities in Harlem, and there's a disconnect between them and those of us who are born and raised in the States. Like, they don't think we're black. And there's an elitism that you guys are, and I think it's because of all the misinformation that's fed to them in the continent about African Americans that we're lazy, and so when they come here, it's like they have this preconceived notion of their.
It's just like what you just said. There's a lot of misinformation that's fed to them, and we, within a conversation a few days ago, we was kind of talking about this, the misinformation that's perpetuated. Matter of fact, the misinformation is put on TV where you always see black people playing pimps, you always see black people playing gangsters, you always see black people playing rappers, and then you see black women on TV playing promiscuous, exotic type roles and things like that. And the truth of the matter is, the black people are successful. Most of the black people that I know, you, Chris, some of the other people, we just had Adam Coleman wrote a book. And then if we talk about black sisters, in terms of master's degrees and higher educations, it's ridiculous. Matter of fact, D News twin sister almost recruited me to go to Southern Evangelical Seminary, and she's also a titan as well when it comes to this apologetics thing. So it's not even funny, the misinformation that gets put out there about black people, black women, and black culture and black men. So it's a lie, and we just have to be patient with our friends from our brothers and sisters from the diaspora, and just kind of take them by the hand and learn to look past that a little bit, because it is misinformation.
I have to sit back and collect my thoughts on this because I just watched the movie earlier today, and I had some initial thoughts that I'm a philosophical guy, and I got my handful of philosophical friends like Matthew and Adam and my boy Brandon. And so I was kicking it with Brandon, and he was like, "Yeah, Chris, I checked it out. I couldn't get past 10 minutes into the movie." And I thought about that because I was like, yeah, it was, the first, it opens up in with its intent to be funny. But some of the things that it used as kind of like shtick comedy to make light of were, a little bit gross, or, a little bit, and I was reflecting to him. I was like, man, I wonder if our sensibilities have changed. Because when I think about it, the first movie was a lot of the same. It was shtick comedy. I think they were going for the same tone as the first movie. I think two things have changed that affected my ability to appreciate it. One is, as in my mind, I've become more civil, more mature as I've grown as a person. What I find funny is just a little bit different. I think when I look at the first version of the movie, it's nostalgia that helps the movie to resonate with me more so than what's actually being presented as comedy. Whereas now it's like certain things about the movie were like with the early scene with the quote unquote rape scene, which I agree it wasn't a rape scene, but she lights the candle and she's like wafting, with the candle. And I'm just like, that's gross. That's like really, really gross, to see somebody do that. But I really had to like control, and I waited a week because I saw some of the reviews that some of my friends were putting on there. And I said, hey, let me just wait, let everything calm down to where people aren't talking about it anymore. I went into it. I forced myself to get past that first part. By the end of the movie, there were several scenes in the movie I found myself laughing out loud. It's not the first one. No, it's just hard to recreate a moment like the first one. I mean, I don't even think we fully appreciate the first one. That was like the first, like Coming to America, historically speaking, was Black Panther before Black Panther. It was the first Black movie with a full Black cast that was top billed Black cast that led the movies and led the stats for the weekend in America, and was a huge movie even overseas in markets where a lot of overseas markets like China, where there aren't a lot of Black people, a lot of Black art suffers because while white people with the same skin color, for some strange reason, even though their culture is different, their movies fit in and resonate over there where our movies don't. Where Coming to America was the exact opposite. It was a movie that played well in virtually every market in the world. It was literally Black Panther before Black Panther was kind of did the same thing. So yeah, I found myself walking away from it really more reflecting on myself and how I've changed as a person, and how I, as a member of African American community, and how what the things that we find funny, and noting the difference between where I was when the first movie came out. I was a single Black guy, grew up raised by a single mother on welfare, in virtual poverty in the ghetto, and now I'm kind of a more mature 23 years married man with grown children in the suburbs who's a deeply committed Christian. And those values shape the way that I see the world and some of the things that I find funny. So I put that comment, put in the thing because I'm not on the live chat, and I couldn't recall which philosopher said it, but like there's a whole discussion amongst the philosophers over what it means for something to be funny. And that's what another one of those thoughts that came to mind. One of the theories is that what we find funny is absurdity. That's what makes it funny. The fact that it's non-normative. And I felt like this movie fit in that ilk. It's like, hey, it's shtick comedy. It's non-normative. It's making light of things with the intent to make us laugh, give us an escape for a moment. And I think that within that sense and scope, that I think there's a place for it. Yeah, it's not necessarily my favorite movie, but yeah, I think there's a place for it.
Cool.
Well, can I say a couple more things? Sorry.
Sure.
It's fresh on the brain. I think some of the things I liked about the first movie, there was like this underdog character, right? Even though we know he's a prince and he's really rich, but nobody else knows that. It's kind of hard to get the princess if she don't know that you got bank. So like I had somebody to root for. I didn't have anybody to root for in this new movie. I didn't like the new son. I didn't feel like he was relatable, and it just happened so quick. It was like one day he was broke, and the next day he's a prince, and then happily ever after. But like the original movie, there are so many golden moments, like especially things that are highlighting Black culture that people probably, if you're not Black, you wouldn't have thought about it. Like when they cut off his rat tail in that first movie, like my brother had a rat tail, and I remember him letting go of that rat tail, and it was like a moment, it was a moment. Or the Soul Glow people getting up off the couch, and there's all this grease and stuff on the couch. My grandmama had a Jerry curl. Like she used to keep a towel on the back of her chair because of all that grease. I was like, yo, like that happened to y'all. Like that's our family too. So I don't know. It was just nice to see those little type things in the film, and it not have to be Black people getting drunk, or like, why do we always have to get drunk?
Listen,
or get
I
high?
never understood the Jerry curl. Okay, because it was big in the 80s in New York, and I remember being in high school and a girl sitting in front of me, and she had the Jerry curl, and she had a separate bag next to her of nothing but napkins. It was a whole bag, because every couple seconds she had to take a wad of napkins and wipe the back of her neck. Like all the back of her shirt was stained, and don't let it be raining that day, because now you got to walk around with that shower cap. I'm like, this is too much. And then what's even worse is when the Jerry curl was not fresh anymore. So everything else was dry, but they still had this one piece of Jerry curl, and they would activate that one piece right here. You know what I mean? It was crazy.
They ain't had a pink silk.
It was struggling, like, because they couldn't afford to do the whole head again. So it was one piece that still had the Jerry curl texture, so they would just activate that piece. I'm like,
you're missing the moment though, BK. It was Michael Jackson.
No, I understand.
Michael Jackson. That's why everybody had a Jerry curl.
True.
Oh yeah. When you think of trash, think of Akeem.
There you go. Crazy. And with that, let's go to a much more somber topic. Judge reinstates third-degree murder charge against Derek Chauvin in George Floyd's death. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin now faces an additional murder charge in the death of George Floyd after a Hennepin County judge reinstated a count of third-degree murder on Thursday. Chauvin already faced charges of second-degree unintentional murder and second-degree manslaughter, and jury selection in this trial began Tuesday. He has pleaded not guilty to any of these charges. And of course, today, I think most of us saw that there was the Minneapolis gave George Floyd's family, was it 27 million?
Mm-hmm.
And which is the largest payout before an actual court case, I think, ever. So, this is a highly volatile situation. I mean, Summer was completely gripped by this slaying of this black man in front of everyone. And now that's finally coming to a courtroom and having some time to really, digest this event. I'm curious how you guys feel about this. Do you feel like he will be found guilty? And if so, which charge will be guilty of? How do you feel about the settlement? All that.
I'd go first.
Sure.
I think he's going to be guilty of second-degree murder. I think third degree, if memory serves me correct, is intent. Like he set out with the intent to murder a person. And based on the video, I find it hard to believe that he intended to kill George Floyd. I think it looked like he was just callous in the face of, those that were around him that were challenging his authority. And he felt like he had the situation under control and that he could do what he wanted to do. So, that may not be popular, but in my mind, what I saw in my novice opinion is second-degree murder. The 27 million, it's hard to wrap my mind around what compensation for the life of a loved one should look like.
Right.
Is that too much? Is that not enough? I really can't say. It's not my loved one. And I'm not even sure there's some standard for anything like that. What I can say is thinking about it in its more broader context of, that's taxpayer money. That's where that come from.
Right.
That's going to impact, how policing takes place moving forward and on more levels than we think, and think at the front of our minds, we think, hey, hopefully police will know how to use their power in a more responsible way, which is good. And that's the hope of it. But, you now it's like, hey, how many less is it going to make things more safe or less safe?
Right.
Who knows the impact of that a foolish decision like this can have. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of my take with
right.
both the murder and the compensation.
I feel like as an officer, he's definitely representing the city of Minneapolis. So the city's definitely on the hook on, what this man did. So it does make sense for there to be some sort of compensation. My concern is, did they give them so much because they're already thinking about letting this cop go? And this is just to, soften the blow of that. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm a little suspicious, to be honest with you.
Well, here's the thing. The third-degree murder charge was reinstated because an appellate case had set new precedents. And it was because the black Muslim police officer in the same city of Minnesota had shot a Caucasian woman and killed her. And it was because of that case that set a new precedence of why Derek Chauvin is now being charged with the third-degree murder. And just for the chat, I think that the proper word is strangled. He strangled Floyd. Choke is when you have something inside your throat. This dude strangled the man and killed him. He strangled him. And so we'll see what happens. This is not quite like Botham Jean's case down there in Dallas, Texas. I mean, this dude had a track record of complaints and use of force of complaints and stuff like that. We'll see what happens. But no amount of money is worth a human life. And that's because all human beings are made made in the image of God and worth dignity and value, and no amount of money can replace a life. Nevertheless, his blood does demand justice.
Right.
And we'll just pay attention and see what happens.
Yeah, Wawo said that there was already 17 other infractions prior to this. So this dude should have been out the force a long time ago.
He should not have been a police officer.
I like how you made that distinction, MJ, because I think that time has a way of lessening the blow and the emphasis of things. But if we go back to the moment, if we go back to the summer and remember how all of us reacted to the incident, I agree with you. No amount of money can compensate the family for a plethora of reasons. You know, a human being, life is gone, period. A father is gone, a brother is gone, a son is gone. And then as well, the manner, Wabo had left a comment in the live chat. I don't know where it is now. But his smirk, like just his demeanor, his body language, like we can't forget all of that, even though all of this time has passed. And I think that he should receive a just penalty would be the most severe punishment, I think, in my humble opinion.
How would the culture view this if there wasn't a pandemic boiling at that time? Would that have changed anything in the perception of this particular event?
Let me just say this. We got it on camera, real, and the reason why I differentiated this between what happened with Botham Jean in Dallas is there were no cameras. And so the only person's word that we are left with is the female police officer's word. I mean, we didn't get to hear his side of the story, but with Mr. Floyd, we have this man crying out for his mom under the knee,
who already passed away, mind you,
under the knee of an officer who he was smirking and smiling, and I mean, so it's different. I mean, I can't quite say if the emotions that come with COVID would have changed anything, but the tape don't lie. You know what I'm saying? And that's the difference between what we have with Botham Jean and what we have with that. And somebody made the statement. I don't know who made the statement. This has been going on. It's just that it's starting to get caught on tape.
Right.
And we've seen police departments edit tape. We've seen officers turn off their body cams. We've seen it happen. But I mean, we got it on camera.
Right. I mean, this is why I brought up the pandemic thing, because at that time, of course, not the whole country, but for many of us, we were sheltering in place. Mm-hmm. There was no sports to go watch. There was, schooling in the house. People were working remotely. And so a lot of things that distract people from seeing these kind of atrocities were taken away. So I feel like in a weird way, I feel like it was just divine providence that God said, you know what? I need everybody to sit down and watch this, because this keeps happening. But because we live our lives, we'll take a quick glance at them and say, wow, that's jacked up, and we'll keep moving. We didn't have that luxury anymore. Everybody was like just looking at their computer screens and had to sit and watch this 8 minutes and somewhat seconds of basically a lynching of a black man. So.
And I think that speaks to kind of in a little bit of a sidebar, but it speaks to what I was saying in terms of the media with the other piece that we were talking about. We as a culture think about what the media puts in front of us, right? We go the way of what we see, and what we see is a result of what the media allows us to see. And so, I think that for as long as the media was putting it in front of us, of course, we're going to think about it. But then the pandemic became a situation in and of itself. And that's what we saw all the time. And then so the George Floyd incident kind of left our minds because the media left the incident.
Yeah. You know what? that Noor Rizik case that Matthew brought up is an incredible contrast of culture there in Minnesota. Because here's a skin color black. He was a Muslim guy, but he was an American skin color black police officer that was decorated for his nobility within this police system over the short period of time that he had been there. He had been noted by the mayor for his service in this short period of I think 3 or 5 years or something like that he was in service. And here, that incident, the woman, the Rizek lady, she was Australian. She was here visiting, and she calls the police. She's in her pajamas with a phone with glitter, and he shows up, and which is the story of so many police officers. They're afraid and they fire their gun in fear, which is terrible. And I do think that there should be consequences and accountability for that type of behavior. One single shot resulted in the death of this woman, and he got convicted of 3rd-degree murder for that. And now they were debating whether or not, and I don't think that's 3rd-degree murder. Again, just I feel the same way that I feel about the earlier. As a matter of fact, I think this one is closer to manslaughter than even 1st-degree murder. But this case with the cop, which Kavanaugh wasn't Kavanaugh, the guy with with George Floyd. But here's a guy that they take away the 3rd-degree charge because it doesn't fit. But it gets added back in because of this double standard, because of the precedent that they set within their own system with this officer of color. And, along with the many other issues that Minnesota seems to be having as of late. Philando Castillo was the kid with the gun that came from Wisconsin and went over there and ended up shooting somebody. See, this state seems to be a fair case example because there's so many different incidents within a single, kind of jurisdiction, a single state where you can kind of look at and see how they are handling cases like these. And I just don't understand how people can see the inconsistencies and not recognize and acknowledge that there's a problem, that there's a broken system problem just within that state alone, to where that one cop, Noor, gets convicted of 3rd-degree murder on the most absurd. And then, even though it's a different state, that's basically the same scenario that happened with Tamir Rice, right? Show up and immediately fire. That's a very similar sequence of events. And those cops, there wasn't enough evidence to convict. This cop, 13 years in jail for 3rd-degree murder. Yeah, this is concerning for us as Christians. This is the type of thing that I think Proverbs 31:8-9 is talking about. Speak up. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to say something about that. We're not supposed to say, oh, everybody sins. Oh, things will always be broken to Jesus' concern. We're supposed to be salt and light, making a difference with things just like this until Jesus returns.
There you go. Speak up. Don't just preach the gospel, but speak up.
Well, that's part of the gospel.
Speaking up is preaching the gospel.
That is part of the gospel.
Well, you know what truncated gospel I'm talking about.
Yes. Here comes Messi MJ. Here he comes.
Doesn't mean good news.
I was wondering when he was going to show up.
Yeah. You know what they mean by the gospel. Fire insurance.
Facts. Yeah. Facts. I just don't want to burn. I don't care about anything else.
Fire insurance.
This is facts. So, if ladies, do you have any comments before we continue, or?
I was just gonna say it kind of reminds me of what I assume would have been the shock of seeing Emmett Till's open casket. It's just so horrifying. But change happened after that, right? Like when people saw what they did to that little boy, it's like, how can we not do something about that? So as awful as it is that it was caught on tape, because that would be traumatizing to see somebody I love. It was traumatizing to see that, and I never met George Floyd, so I can only imagine what his family and his friends felt like seeing that. But it was awful. And even people saying that he deserved it because of things that he had done in the past. It's like, really, guys, how can we look at that and say, well, yeah, that was right? It was not right. It was awful. But I do hope that he gets whatever justice can be served. I'm glad that his family is getting something. I think losing a loved one is priceless. You really can't put a price tag on that. You can't.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up because it's funny, right? Because America is supposed to be this Judeo-Christian nation, right? But yet, when it comes to black men getting shot who are unarmed and already subdued, we become really big proponents of karma. I mean, I don't understand that. Like, that's not Christian. You know, it's like because they did something years ago, it's coming back to them. I'm like, that's not part of the theological framework of Christianity.
But when it's America, they feel completely different. America can be racist for 86. It can own black folks and Indians and everybody else for 86 years, and then treat us like second-class citizens for another 102. And it's almost a sin to some Christian, some American Christians to say that America should be held culpable for its actions. You know, this is the same government. There's been no change of regime. It's the same government that legislated it, that permitted it, legislated it, and then turned a blind eye once they were supposed to be fostering an environment of equality in this country, turned a blind eye for 100 years of disenfranchisement of people building as we are working through all the disenfranchisement as a people, trying to establish ourselves and tearing down all of these lighthouses of success for us. You know, it's sad that they can't see that inconsistency.
And for everyone that says, and this is just me, I'm not gonna put this on the bodega, but this is just me. When they say, well, you know, they need better training. No, they don't. They don't need better training. You know what they need to do? Treat the black guy like you treat the white guy who you think is a criminal. That's all you gotta do.
We were trained, and I can say we because I'm a former police officer. We were trained to be objective. These guys are not. Some of these guys are not objective. They're not. It's just. It is what it is. There's a different standard that's being applied when you show up to a domestic violence. I mean, come on, man. Let's just keep it real. When I worked in the city of Fort Worth, you knew that if you went and handled people on the west side of town, where the white people who had money were, the same way that you handled the black people who were on the east side and south side of town, most likely you was going to get complained on by the white folks on the west side of town. So you had to go out there and give good customer service because that's the job. You go take the report. You're not supposed, for whatever reason, police officers have thought that they were a part of the military, and that's where you get militarized policing. But policing, it should be community based. It should be community based, and as a police officer, you are a first responder. That means that you do essentially the same things that the ambulance and the fire department would do. You the first responders. Your job is to get there and take the report. And to take the report, not to shoot people, not to be judge, jury, and executioner. You do have the power to change lives. You do. But that's why you operate within the principle of objectivity, and you keep your personal opinions and things like that to yourself. And if you're always in fear of your life, perhaps you should go find another profession.
Yeah. When people have, like Kavanaugh, have a track record, and I've known friends who were police who have worked at multiple different jurisdictions because they will get in trouble and they'll get the option to resign rather than to be terminated for their actions. And because they resign rather than being terminated, it doesn't go on their record, and they move to a different jurisdiction. They move from Virginia to Michigan and then apply for a position as a police officer here in Michigan, even though they have this issue. And it's like, we have to see this as problematic. and say, well, no, when you cross the line, it's just like any other job. If you got a job and you steal from that job, it's like, hey, you violated a principle that prevents us from trusting you in a way where we just can't hire you. And now you have to live with those consequences and go find another profession that will give you an opportunity, and don't squander that next opportunity. Yeah, I think that's a huge part of it. How many of these police officers have? Because didn't both of Jean's officer? I mean, she had some issues too. I don't know if hers were official, because I know some of hers were like text messages that she were sending back and forth between her and other officers. I don't know if that was ever public and she got in trouble for that. But yeah, to me, it's like a lot of these officers, you find out they have personality issues, prejudices, and things like that. And it's like, why are you keeping people like that? Move on, set the standard high, and just move on to the next person when a person disqualifies himself.
You're muted, MJ.
Set the standard high. Some of my friends are going to get mad at me, but I think that police officers should have degrees. I really do. I mean, if you look at I can take Fort Worth, Arlington, and Dallas, and these are cities that are adjacent to each other. Fort Worth has the lowest standards as far as what they require of their police officers. Arlington has the highest standards, and they are a nationally accredited police department, but they also require that their police officers have a 4-year degree before they get in there. Some officers for Fort Worth were coming right in off the farm, never met a black person in their life.
Wow.
I'm just keeping it real. Was homeschooled.
Wow.
And you think that the guy asked everybody in the class, how many of y'all want to go to the South Side? You should have saw all the white hands that went up, because they know that they're going to go over there and get to rough up some folks.
Wow.
And I'm not impugning anybody's character. I'm just telling you all the hands that went up.
Well, you was there. You're giving us eyewitness testimony.
I was there. And some of these cats never been around a black person in their life. So,
I would also add, you were talking about community-based policing earlier, and that triggered a memory of mine. Detroit used to have a residency policy for its police officers. You had to own a home within the city limits in order for you to qualify to be a police officer. During the 1990s, the era of white flight from Detroit, where a lot of white families moved out and purchased homes in the suburbs of Detroit, this was a big point of contention of whether or not these people had to maintain residencies in Detroit, because some of them were trying to sidestep the system by just buying a shack in Detroit and paying taxes on it just so that they can qualify as having a home in Detroit, when they really still didn't live in Detroit. But I do think that it makes a difference when your level of investment, I think, goes deeper when you've got skin in the game. When you realize my job is going to impact my family, my kids are going to live where I'm working at. So I do think that even though that might sound like it's too pervasive, I think that policing is the type of thing that sort of a policy would help facilitate resolving some of the issues that come from people of different cultures coming into an environment with subconscious biases, prejudices, and then operating in a way where they think of themselves as completely genuine and trying to do a good job, when in reality, those prejudices, those subconscious biases are leading to them causing more problems. And I certainly, I see, I don't know what in the world happened with some of these cases where some of these police officers are just so, fast to act with black bodies, to whether it's a gun or whether it's them using excessive force. It just makes no sense to me when I watch some of these videos and just see, it's like, why are they being so rough with a person? What was the guy in upstate New York with a cigarette guy that they choked out? Garrett Gardner. Yeah. And it's like, why are they doing this over a loose cigarette outside of a store? Like, why? You got like 3 cops tackling a guy, choking a guy over a alleged loose cigarette.
And mind you, he just helped break out another fight that was occurring. So he was actually doing a good thing. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It was
Right. The other fight, the reason that they came was for the other fight. And here they are over and it's like, why don't you, and even Eric, even George Floyd, I think, what was the accusation that he passed
a counterfeit bill,
a counterfeit $20 bill? Like, is the type of force and interaction that those police officers had with George Floyd worth a counterfeit $20 bill? How is it that you can, as a Christian, I get it. You're not a Christian. You're not filled with the Holy Spirit. I get it. Anything's on the table for you to think of as justice. The whole world might be upside down and you might think everything's okay. Us Christians with the Bible filled with the Holy Spirit, how in the world do we look at situations like those and try to justify them? How? Where are we drawing our ethics from? It's certainly not from the Bible.
Let me say this, Chris. Like there's a general or a mutual acquaintance that some of us have. I'm not gonna call names. He's a white guy, very popular Christian apologist, speaks up on a lot of political topics. But there is an assumption within by our brothers of another hue that police officers are basically good people and things like that. But the truth of the matter is, what does the Bible say about the human heart?
It's deceitful above all things.
It's deceitful above all things. So you cannot, and you just made the statement about Christians being hoodwinked and swindled when it comes to this issue. But the human heart is not basically good. That's a liberal notion that humans are basically good. That's a politically liberal notion that humans are basically good. No, the Bible says that the human heart is deceitful. And so just like what you said, there could be some unconscious stuff working there. Absolutely. There could, because the human heart is deceitful.
Right.
So I'm like, well, what's all the resistance about?
But you know what? And that's all the more reason why we need to get the gospel out. The whole gospel. Not the truncated kind, but the entire unadulterated, right? Because if these cops really saw these unarmed black men as fellow images of God, these black men would still be alive. So you can't tell me the gospel doesn't change people. Like that's part of the social justice. It's like getting people to realize that we are also humans and that Christ died for us too.
Mm-hmm.
And if these cops can cultivate that kind of a conviction via the Holy Spirit, more unarmed black men will be alive right now. So,
and things happen to women too from cops. Remember a few years ago that cop was targeting black women. He was raping them.
Right.
That was awful. And then the video of the cop who was literally straddling this woman on the street, punching her, and he's a grown man. She was defenseless. It's just like, it's not just black men, it's black women too. So,
oh, they beat and let me not say they, but some cops beat the hell out of our women. That as a Christian, in my mind, I'm like, Matt, if you observe something like that happening on the street, you got a wife to go back home to, but could you allow that to happen in front of your face? And I'm just going to be real with everybody up in here. I don't think I could.
Yeah. It reminds me of that movie Crash, the Thandie Newton scene where her husband had to watch as these police officers assaulted his wife. And that's a hard scene to watch, but that's like art imitating reality. That's what art is. It takes reality and it reproduces it in an effort to resonate and to get us to reflect on the human condition. And it's hard, man. Again, like, do people read their Bibles? It's like we are supposed to be salt and light. We are supposed to be the people who calls out sin and bring people to shame publicly for their behavior. That's the context of the Bible of honor, shame. It's like when you're doing something wrong, we're supposed to speak up. And through us speaking up, people are supposed to have shame. And basically what we see with cancel culture, they're supposed to get canceled. They're supposed to be canceling all of these bad cops. Right. You know, and we have to, but it'll never get that. This is a message to us Christians. Until we recognize that becoming a Christian means more than being saved, getting that Willy Wonka golden ticket and swimming in the chocolate river. Until we realize that getting saved is more than sitting on that pew and trying not to sin. You know, the world is going to struggle with the problems that the world struggle with. When we recognize that not only are we saved, we're saved to be servants, to be the children of God, to be the people through whom which God uses to reach other people. And the way that we do that is through justice advocacy or loving our neighbor as ourselves. That's when the world begins to reflect God's kingdom down here on earth. And that's what God left us here to do. Right. You know, to be salt light, to be change agents, to help people to see God's way is the only way that is the right way. All other ways, it doesn't matter who your king is, who your emperor is, who your parliament is. It doesn't matter. They're never going to bring they're never going to bring righteousness and justice to everybody. Right. They're always going to have a system that fails, that rewards the few and exploits the many. Christianity is the opposite. Christianity is me sacrificing of my own accord to show you that God loves and cares about you.
Right. And I think with that, we're going to transfer over to a much lighter topic. But powerful words from the panel definitely needed to be said. Yes, it's definitely worthy of a mic drop. You know what I mean? So, and he was definitely fire as well. So now with that being said, if I could get on my comic book nerd bag real quick. As many of you know, we just finished watching the season of WandaVision. Hopefully we have some fans in the chat, but Black people have this amazing way of contextualizing pop culture and making it their own, right? And they've done that with Vision. And what am I talking about? Well, WandaVision fans are sharing images reimagining Vision as Vishon after the character appeared wearing a turtleneck. So I thought it'd be kind of interesting to see some of these memes. So we have something like, it ain't Vision anymore, it's Vishon. In fact, I think he's the first one to do this. He's the first meme of this. He's like, nah, me and Wanda don't talk no more. Right? And then there's, threw a little braid on him, gave him the beard. Check out the Cuban link, with the watch. You know what I mean? Which, of course, it was funny, right? Because people were saying that it looked familiar to this old picture of The Rock, and they superimposed him on that picture of The Rock. So I thought that was kind of cool. Here he is with the Coochie sweater. Shout out to Biggie. You know what I mean? What else we got here? We got a little Drake action here. The crisp shape up. You know what I mean? But what is drip if not swag persevering? Right? See what else we got here. Someone decided to make a album, an R&B album, The Drip of Theosis, Vishon. Black Love. Got Vishon with the do-rag, and Wanda got the braids over here. Of course, people started making like actual cartoon drawings of Vishon. Vishon, when you tell him he's not black, right? Here he is with the shiny adamantium do-rag, right? Stepdaddy, your mom told you to go to bed, didn't she? With the Gucci belt. That buckle would hurt, I tell you. Here's another album of vision, right? So it made me think of this particular verse. D. New, can you read this for us?
Yes, 1 Corinthians 9:19 to 23. Though I am free and belong to no one, I have made myself a slave to everyone to win as many as possible. To the Jews, I became like a Jew to win the Jews. To those under the law, I became like one under the law, though I myself am not under the law, so as to win those who are under the law. To those not having the law, I became like one not having the law, though I am not free from God's law, but under Christ's law, so as to win those not having the law. To the weak, I became weak to win the weak. I have become all things to all people, so that I, by all possible means, I have become all things to all people, so that by all possible means I might save some. I do all this for the sake of the gospel, that I may share in its blessings.
Right. So, I just felt like the internet gave us a great example of what it means to contextualize something, right? His vision, there's this white android superhero that was created years ago, and he was repurposed for a different demographic. And before there was vision, there was Paul. And Paul, took this message and he contextualized it depending on the demographic he was with. If he's with the Jews, he's going to frame it for the Jews. If he's with the Gentiles, he's going to frame it for the Gentiles, right? To the weak, I became weak to win the weak. I have become all things to all people, so that by all possible means, I might save some. And that's basically what the UA is really all about. We are taking the fundamentals of the faith and contextualizing for a particular demographic, because we want people to fully understand the amazing grace that can be found in Christ. And we want to make sure that they can understand it. So we're going to say it and translate it in such a manner that it can be received by the urban landscape. So, panel, what are your thoughts about that?
It just shows the heart of God, and it is partnered with the Great Commission that the gospel is for everybody. This week, I decided that I was going to start learning Koine Greek, or at least attempt to start learning Koine Greek. And reading the first pages of the Bill Mounts book that Chris had told me to read several months ago. But anyway, so I'm late. Sorry, Chris. But some of the first pages of the book talk about how Koine Greek was the common person's Greek. Like, it literally was what everybody was speaking.
Street Greek.
Yeah, it's street Greek, right? I didn't know there was street Greek. So apparently there was classical Greek that was for the educated, and then you have street Greek. So God literally put this language, or made the Bible in this language, so that it could reach the masses. Like, why did he do that? Because he's God and because he loves us. That is amazing to me. I think I deserve a mic drop, but I ain't gonna ask for the mic drop on that one. Low key. That's it. That's all.
There you go. You get one. You get one. So, how about you guys? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's just like what she just said. I mean, New Testament is a contextualization. A lot of the Hebrew Israelites get mad because, you're not using Jesus' real name in the Hebrew. What does the New Testament use for his real name in the Hebrew? What did Paul use for his name when he was writing? You know what I'm saying? So the New Testament itself is a contextualization to reach other people. And then within it, we see Paul on Mars Hill and things like that. I mean, like, come on. I mean, he was using things that they knew to communicate something to them, and by common grace for the theologians out there, he was able to do it, and they was able to understand it.
Right.
Yep. Honor, shame, adoption, benefaction, patron, client,
client,
right? Grace.
All you see.
Broker.
right? Friendship.
Yeah.
You get into when you start to understand the world of the Bible, and you start to read the original language. And when I say read the original language, I don't mean like literally you got you a Greek New Testament and you're flipping through the pages reading it in Greek. I simply mean when you recognize that translation is more than simply words. The words have a range of meaning within the world, and you begin to look at the range of meanings within the world and go, oh, wait a minute, this is used in this way, which means this. Here it's like poof. It's an epiphany, and you start to rightly question some of the traditions that you were taught. And we shouldn't be uncomfortable with that. It's like, look, man, for 2,000 years, we've had people wrestling with what the Bible actually says, and we've had traditions ebb and flow. Like, the reality is virtually every church father, anti-Nicene church father, believed in baptismal regeneration. That was literally the root of where monergism came from with Augustine. Whether or not a baby who was taken from a prostitute, if it died on the way to the church before it was getting baptized, if that baby died before it got baptized, they said that baby went to hell. And because they believed in baptismal regeneration, and it was out of this argument that monergism, Calvinism, was birthed, whether or not babies go together. And so the thought process was, well, God elects the babies that make it to the baptism, and if God is the babies that don't make it to the baptism are the ones that God didn't elect. So you're just understanding the world of the Bible is just like, it just opens your mind up to where we can see the divine counsel, we can see the powers of darkness, we can recognize that God is our benefactor, He's our client, He's the advocate that's going to have us pronounced justified before the King God, Yahweh. Hey, it's like, man, it's a beautiful thing. It makes more sense.
Patron deity. Right?
Exactly. He's our patron deity, and we're supposed to, in gratitude, in grace, blast his name.
In charis. Right.
Blast his name. Hey, do the dance of grace and blast his names to the ends of the earth.
The three graces, right?
You know what's up.
I know. But I mean, when Paul, I mean, he quotes pagan poets, right? As some of your own poets said. So he literally he took vision and made him vision for the Stoic philosophers. Like, that's what he actually did. He threw a chain and a goatee on visions, and gave it to the Stoic philosophers. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we do. So it's like, we're not doing anything new. This is not something innovative. It's just, and the thing that bothers me, it seems like when Black and brown people contextualize the gospel, there seems to be an issue with that. When everyone else contextualizes it, it's great. It's innovative. You're preaching the word. When we do it, well, that's that woke stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, really? This is what we're doing? Yeah. What? I'm going to give myself a mic drop. There you go. Yeah, I'm going to do that. All right.
Well deserved.
Thank you.
That's that woke stuff.
It's that woke stuff.
Yeah, they don't teach you those things in sorry, BK.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was just gonna say they don't really teach you those things in church and Bible school, or at least when I was in church 2 years ago when there was no pandemic, a year, whatever. Anyway, but Paul he quoted people who were in the Bible, right? And I was like, I'll do a shameless plug here. If you haven't seen my "Should You Pledge Fraternities or Sororities" video, I quoted Paul when he said, "Bad morals or bad company corrupts good morals." I never knew that he was quoting somebody else. It was a secular playwright, so I was like, really? Nobody ever told me that.
Here's the question, Miss Typok. When Paul quoted the person, was what they said objectively true or not?
It was objectively true.
Okay, so all the folks who hate CRT is the observation that CRT is making, because we can engage in a genetic fallacy all day. So we
we get that preview.
is the observation of the phenomenon true or not? That's the question. And I don't have time to get distracted by the words that you like. If you don't like social justice, if you have a problem with CRT because CRT puts his foot up, America's behind. I don't really have a problem. I mean, that's not my problem. That's between you, the dictionary, the encyclopedia, and Jesus.
I think the proper word is patootie. Patootie.
Oh Lord.
Yes. So let's keep the main thing. When Paul quoted those pagan philosophers, was what they said true or not, or was Paul just trying to get some style points?
Right. Was it a rhetorical flourish, or was he trying to give them the gospel? You know what I mean?
There you go.
Right.
Come get this good news. That's what Paul was saying.
Glad tidings.
This good news. There you
Get
go.
this tidings from the patron. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're nerds. I'm sorry, guys. We're sorry. But so with that being said, guys, as always, before we wrap things up, we'd like to know what our panel has in store in the immediate future, and we will start with Bodega Lady Taipak.
Little old me. Bodega Ladies are doing something in April. As far as me personally, I have a live stream. Actually, I don't know if it's a live stream. I'm going to be on somebody else's show on Sunday. If it's live, I will promote it on my Facebook page if we're Facebook friends. And I'm still working on more videos about Greek life. So that is it. And dodging the coronavirus.
MJ, you got something coming up pretty soon.
Man, and I'm gonna let y'all probably read some of it tonight if y'all want to.
Okay.
My peoples. But on Tuesday, I believe that's the 16th, right? I'm going to be it's a debate / discussion with a gentleman, a pastor in the Detroit area, Mr. Mike Moses, and we're going to be debating, is social justice biblical? I am taking the affirmative that it is biblical if it's properly defined and grounded within the Word of God. And I don't understand how anybody's going to deny that, so I'll let him work all that out. We're going to keep it cordial and friendly. I think this is a good opportunity for two sides who need each other to come together and talk. This is what open communication is all about. Nevertheless, I'm going to put together my presentation on some things that I think are very concerning, such as the syncretization of Christianity and American politics. And we've seen this happening through the history of philosophy where certain thoughts were put together, and then, Hegel called it the thesis and the antithesis and the synthesis. So this is not new. This is something that's been happening, and I'm going to try to make a decent case that we got to get back to the book, and that social justice as properly defined by the Bible is biblical, which means that human beings have both negative rights and positive rights. And that's what I'm going to set out to do. And, hopefully we can all be friends and
get along.
Kumbaya afterwards.
Sounds good. And Dean, what can we be expecting from you, Bodega Lady?
Can I talk about what we...
Sure.
Okay. So this week, I, along with BK Apologist and Adam Coleman, we're going to get together, and we're going to visit the comment section of some of the videos that we have done on Young Pharaoh. We're just going to take a visit. We're going to highlight some of the comments, and just discuss them a little bit. So that's going to be good. You guys can look out for that. As well, BK and I may have a show coming up that is fueled by these comments, to be honest with you. So we'll look out for that as well. We don't have a date set for that, but we will let you know.
The sniper's always lurking in the bushes. Just so you know.
That's facts. I won't even front on that. That's fact. And then I will just be in the YouTube streets doing what I do. That's it.
Nice. And Mr. I Am Not a Marxist, what can we be expecting from you, sir?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Just as a reminder, I'm going to need y'all to read some mean tweets. y'all got to entertain me a little bit. Just
it's gonna be fun. Oh, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So was it 2 weeks ago? I dropped my last blog, Heaven Theology in Pictures, Heaven as the Capital City. It was part 1 in a 3-part series. If you haven't seen that yet, go check it out. I'm incredibly encouraged. I got some feedback from both New Testament and Old Testament scholars that are currently, active in academia. And it was just super encouraging. I'm very proud of this blog. And I think it's super relevant, because it gives us a much clearer picture of heaven, a biblical picture of heaven, and shows why it's relevant to what we do as Christians on earth right now with our lives. So yeah, that's one. Well underway in part 2 of it, Theology and Pictures, part 2, which is the people of God, the mission and the people of God. That's kind of my working title for it, where I'm going to be talking about representation and how this picture of priesthood of God's people as a nation or a community of priests teaching the humanity, the image of God, in promoting human flourishing. So I'm going to be talking about all those things in that blog. Working on that currently. On April the 11th, I think it is. I'm preaching at my church. I'm going to be preaching on 1 John chapter 3 and 4. So keep me in prayer for that. If I don't stutter too much and I'm comfortable enough with it, I might actually publish it on my YouTube channel or something. We'll see. I am also, I'm still heavy underway in my fundraising. I need a lot of support. This is my livelihood. This is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life, God willing. And, fundraising is not a fun thing. I wish I didn't have to do it. I wish I was rich enough to just, go out and do kingdom work and not have to worry about it. But the reality is I'm nowhere near that rich. And the modest amount of money that I'm raising for my annual salary, although it's modest, it's for it to be something that people are pledging or people are contributing to. It's a big amount for me to raise in one moment. In my mind, I'm not used to it. This is my first endeavor in doing it. So here's some. I just wanted to offer a real quick some thoughts on that. It's like, hey, if pray, this costs you nothing. If you can remember me in your prayers, ask God to help me to do a good job in fundraising. Ask God to send people my way that want to see good kingdom work done in the city of Detroit. It doesn't matter your socioeconomic status. You may be a potential donor, whether it's a one-time $5 donation, whether it's $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever you're capable of doing, that's between you and God. But don't think that there's too little that you can give. And hopefully you see the type of work that I'm going to be doing in Detroit as meaningful and impactful for the kingdom, and would love to partner with me in that. And if so, shoot me an email, Apologists in Detroit, and I can tell you how to do that. I'll probably be doing a couple online fundraisers. Well, really one just in 2 different forms. One that's out of a private group, and then the other one on my Facebook page, where I'll probably do a GoFundMe or something like that to try to get a little bit of a chunk, because probably by the end of April or beginning of May, I'll be going live. Hopefully COVID restrictions will be minimal and I'll actually be able to get out, interact with some churches, and maybe get on some college campuses prior to them letting out and actually start actually doing the work every day. So yeah, I got that going on. I got a couple other things, and some of which are with you, BK. I'll let you talk about those things. Thanks so much, guys. I get a lot of love and support from being here and participating with the Bodega. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I don't always say hi to all you guys because I don't want to say hi a million times, but just know in my heart and in my mind, I'm saying, hey, hey, hey to each one of you by name in my head every week, every show.
Cool. So Monday for me will be pretty busy because on the 15th at 3 p.m., I'll be having a discussion with my good friend Kyle Spears, and we'll be talking about discipling the Black experience. And then later on that afternoon at 6, I'll be getting together with Alex McElroy, where we'll be taking down a TikTok video that makes the claim that Jesus was racist. And then later on that evening, I will be at Real Reviews with SOC, where we'll be discussing Lost Boys versus Twilight. And just so you know, me and Michelle will be hiring. In other words, we're going to be giving that work to Miss Titus over here because she's Team Twilight. So
I was tricked. We'll talk about that on Monday.
So if he's wondering why we was really heavy on vampire talk at the bodega, it's to lead into real reviews with SOC. So I hope everybody that was engaged in the shenanigans will jump in to the live chat and continue the shenanigans as well. That's right, Michelle. We team Lost Boys over here. You know what I mean? And then on the 18th, me, Pastor Troy, and not the rapper, but the actual pastor, and and Chris will be having a discussion on Supreme Clientele, our client-patron relationship with Jesus. And if you notice, you know, we're throwing a couple of terms out there. That's just to whet your appetite so that you can have a much deeper understanding of the background information, the background noise of the gospel. You know what I mean? So be on the lookout for that. So I'm really looking forward to that because I feel like when people understand this client-patron relationship, it really opens up the Bible in ways that it's just mind-blowing. You know what I mean? Once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? So, but with that being said, any last words before we out here, guys?
So we're doing androgynous vampires of the 80s versus the millennial vampires of the 2000s.
No, they wasn't androgynous. They were very masculine, the vampires and Lost Boys. I don't know
okay,
what
one of them had like straight up big hair. Like that's like
they had big hair, but that was okay. That was the 80s. Would you rather big hair or glitter paint?
big hair for sure.
Oh, okay.
Man, I wish I could have a Colin Kaepernick afro. I say that all the time, man. I swear I'll be thinking about just buying me a wig. Like I'm just gonna go and buy me a big old afro undercover brother wig, and one of these days I'm just gonna show up with it, rocking it hard. And I dare you to crack jokes about me.
Oh, challenge accepted. You don't know me very well. I'll give you 16 bars real quick. So yeah. Anyone else? Tide Pod.
No, I'm good. I'm just ready for Monday. I will be building a case. I have no case. I'm sorry.
You know I got some slides, right? That's just what you know. I do have some slides. I have some primaries for you. You know, I'm gonna jump in my A&E bag, even with the vampires. So
I was tricked. Okay, but if we're gonna do this, let's do this then. I'm ready.
I like that. You see, that's good. I like that. I respect that. So that being said, Tide Pod, MJ, D New, I am not a Marxist, and BK. Catch you next time. Peace.